Alright guys, welcome back to Emiliano Parfum. As promised, this is the part 2. This is going to be the mid-level entry point for some fragrances, 2 per season. So let's get started. Get ready. Alright, so we're starting off with summer this time, and you may consider this cheating because I said 2 fragrances per season, and these 2 here, they're 2 flankers, right? So we got the Allure Homme Sports, we got the Eau Extrême, and Edition Blanche. So I'm going to start off with the Allure Homme Blanche edition, and I'll be honest, it's really good, but there's like a clear hierarchy with how good these 2 are. This one is, at least if we're going out of 10, this is like 3 points better. But again, that doesn't change the fact that this is a solid fragrance. Now, when you spray this on, most of what you get is lemon, and you get a bit of a creamy lemon. But what you're going to mainly get is citrus. And to be honest, it doesn't go very much far from there. You're going to pick up a bit of vanilla later on. Well, not later on, but I gave it a few minutes, maybe like 30 minutes, and you're going to start picking up vanilla. So it's basically a vanilla lemon with a hint of creaminess in it, and that's the fragrance. And lends itself best to more hot weather. So I'm gonna go with like 79 degrees, 80 degrees and up is the Edition Blanche. The longevity on this is not great, but the projection, like many fresh fragrances, it's amazing. It goes out far, it stretches out. So just in terms of how long it's gonna last on you though, I don't know. It's gonna evaporate quick. Maybe I want to say 3 hours, 3-4 hours tops. Especially if your skin's dry. If your skin's dry, then you're not even gonna get 3 hours, 2.5 hours. So maybe moisturize your neck a bit before you apply this. Now, if you look this up online, you're gonna get a lot of comparisons to, I think, one of these lemon pies, key lime pie, lemon pie, something like that. And I don't get it. This is a bit too airy for it to be compared to a pie. And when you compare it to a food, I feel you're saying it's kind of gourmandy, or at least maybe it reminds you of food. But no, I don't get that. This is a very airy vanilla citrusy fragrance with a bit of creaminess in the background. Now, let's talk about the big brother. Let's talk about Allure Homme Sport Eau Extrême. For Allure Homme Sport Eau Extrême, there's that creaminess there because it is a flanker. So they both share that creamy aspect, which comes from the tonka bean. But in Extrême, you also have mintiness. There's a mint that lingers throughout the whole fragrance as well. And I don't pick up as much vanilla off of this one as, off of this one as the Edition Blanche. And I'm not quite sure that there is vanilla. Now that I'm trying to think back and smelling it, there's definitely vanilla in the Edition Blanche, not in the Eau Extrême. The Eau Extrême is a creamy tonka bean with mint, and that's how it carries on around. That's how the scent carries on for its life cycle. Now, in terms of the performance and longevity, performance and projection and longevity. Projection is up there. It's just like the Edition Blanche, huge. Now, projection, it's better because it's a bit heavier. And the the performance lasts a bit longer. So it's heavier and it won't evaporate as quick, is basically what I'm saying. Now, in terms of hours, I'm gonna say some 5 hours. For a fresh fragrance, it's really good. It's a very good fragrance. Now, like I said, out of the two, the second one is significantly better. And in terms of price point, it's not really cheap. It's upwards. It's more than $100, even if you look for it online. So I don't think it makes that big a difference whether you get these online or in person. And for the amount of money that you're gonna pay for them, it's better that you get them in person, only because you get to try them before you buy them. And like I said, if you try them before you buy them, you'll get trapped. So it's better to do that. Another thing, they're both very mass appealing fragrances, but I believe that because of the creaminess in this one, along with the mint, it's more well liked by the random non-fragrance person. It's a very, I guess we could call it as a, well, I'm not gonna call it alluring, but because of the name, but let's say it's a very attractive fragrance. This is a head turner. All right, I'll be honest, this is take 3 because something with my phone wants me to go in slow-mo. So anyway, we're on spring now. And for spring, I'm gonna talk about 2 extremely versatile fragrances. And they could apply to any season, but they shine the best in spring. So I'm gonna talk about first, Dior Homme 2020. Let's just touch on the fact that some people say it's generic. It's generic because there is an olfactory sense that is mass appealing. That's wood, that's wood and citrus. And those 2 things combined are, I don't know, it's like destined to be a banger. That's what this is. It's a banging fragrance. Now on top of the citrus and the wood, there's a fuzziness. And that's coming from the cashmere. Or at least whatever chemical it's in here that's supposed to smell like cashmere. And it's just something that is very appealing. Even in the heat, that fuzziness is not overpowering. The sweetness isn't either. So Dior Homme is doing what Dior does. This 2020 fragrance also just lets go to the projection and the longevity. It's amazing. It's great. It's fantastic. And there's not much that needs to be said. Now, this maybe on YouTube fragrance, or the YouTube fragrance community, is maybe it's not considered an improvement because people, for whatever reason, on this site love Iris. I don't like that heavy ass cakey smell that the Iris gives, at least in Dior Homme Intense. And if it is as key of a factor in Dior Homme, the original, as it is in the old Dior Intense, then I would not have been a fan of that fragrance at all. So don't let people, get you to sleep on this. This is an exceptionally good fragrance. Just, it's ridiculous. This is very good. So give this one a go. Now, the other one, I was debating on which one was going to be, on this list. Which one of the Ys, right? It was going to be either this one, the Y80P, the original, or the Y Intense, the new one. I went with the original because morally I felt like I had to, I felt like I had to stick to my guns, that I enjoy the sweetness. I love the sweetness. The sweetness in this is ridiculous. It's like a super potent apple with, the berries in the background. And, to be honest, it's an apple that's so potent that it's kind of synthetic, but like extremely pleasing. And it's got, I don't want to say watery notes, maybe like a juiciness. It's got like a juicy scent to it. And like Dior Homme Intense, Y80P is very long lasting for a fresh fragrance, meaning 6, 7, 8 hours around there. Projection, amazing as well. These two fragrances, honestly, they could just be your 2 fragrances that you get for the whole year. Obviously, that isn't what happened for me, but it could happen for you if you just want 2 things to wear. You could wear something, you could get something that you could wear, upscaled if you wanted to. You don't need to upscale this, by the way, in terms of like what you're wearing. Like you can wear it like with this and it'll be fine. But this is a little bit more casual. So these 2 very, very, very good fragrances, amazing. I suggest you get it. Now, side note, if you don't like the sweetness as much, you can get the new one, the YADP Intense. But I like sweetness, so I'm sticking to what I like, and it's this one, right? So I'm trying to maybe not push an agenda on you, just give you my opinion. All right, so that's spring cover. All right, now we're moving on. So we made it to fall, and the weather's starting to get cooler. So what does that mean? We're gonna up the sweetness, up the performance, up the heaviness, and the denseness of the fragrances. So the first one I'm gonna bring up. I know in the last segment I just talked a bunch of crap about Iris, but this fragrance is Iris correct, because this one blends it with sweetness, which is not what was done in Your Homme Intense for me. This one blends the Iris with the vanilla, and it's like a spiciness from the cardamom. And so it's a very well blended fragrance where the Iris isn't the key note. It's a complement to the cardamom and the vanilla that exist. It adds like a bit of a stickiness, if that makes sense. It just adds like a nice little warmness, a nice body to the fragrance, where otherwise the other 2 notes that I mentioned that are the main players could be applicable to a more warm situation, as where the Iris helps bring it down into the cold, and where it will perform a bit better, last better, project, all that stuff. So Le Male Le Parfum, and this is one of my favorite Le Males too. So maybe it'll be dethroned from my favorite Le Male to my second favorite Le Male once I'm able to get my hands on the Elixir, which I'm not. So at the moment, this does wonders in the this will do wonders in the fall, because the way this is gonna carry in the air, it's just beautiful. You're gonna first get hit with that spice and then the sweetness, and that's how it approaches your nose when you catch it. These whiffs are potent. Even yourself, when you're gonna catch a whiff off yourself because of the wind, beautiful. It's amazing, and it's truly probably like a 9 out of 10 fragrance, an 8 out of 10 fragrance. It's that good. So that's Le Male Le Parfum. And now I'm gonna be able to talk to you about, again, one of my first fragrances, and still one of my favorite fragrances. It's Invictus Intense. Now, unfortunately for you all, this is discontinued. So the best Invictus is no more. But let me describe it to you. This is it's got like a dirty smell. No, sorry, maybe not dirty, but it's got like a actually, you know what? Dirty is the way. It's like a dirtier, heavier Invictus. It's got more rum in it. It's got ambergris, but it also has that freshness at the beginning. Yeah, clean is not the way I would use to describe it. It is still fresh enough that you can pull it off in spring also, but then it's also heavy enough to where it applies to fall. And even the winter if you want to, but I wouldn't. I would stick to fall and spring for this one. And I don't know if you can tell, but there is a dent, a sufficient dent in this. You can't see it, but I've used this so much because I like it that much. It's a very good fragrance. And just to build off on that dirtiness note that I was talking about, it's more like a dirty sweetness. It's combined with the sweetness. It's not just like dirty, like you smell nasty. It's a sweetness, and I guess the dirtiness comes into because of the rum that's in there, as well as the ambergris. But it is Invictus, which means it is sweet. So it is not. Excuse me. The La Mort Le Parfum is not as sweet as this one. So if you're going for less sweet but sweet, go Le Parfum. If you like the booziness with the sweetness with a bit of like grimy dirtiness, then this is the one for you if you can find it. And I extremely suggest it, heavily suggest it. This is one of my favorite fragrances. It is one of my first fragrances, and I will never regret having this. I like this one so much that I have a backup bottle ready to go. When this is done, I got another. So Invictus Intense La Mort Le Parfum. Those are the two I'd recommend for anyone getting into this. That has got this mid-level entry in terms of what they're willing to spend for fall. So there you go. That's fall. We made it to We made it to winter. We are I think just based off that noise, you guessed what it was even before you saw it. But you made it to winter. And this is probably my favorite season for fragrances because I like sweetness, combining it with spiciness and potency. So you made it to winter and you want something that's going to cut through the cold and it's going to just wow whoever's around you. So up first, we're going to go with my second favorite of the two. Sauvage Elixir. This, for the price for the size, might be a bit expensive, but I think it fits in this category. It's unlike the other Sauvages because the other ones are clearly fresh, and maybe some people will say, this is fresh too. It don't smell fresh. It's like, it's got the added cardamom. It's like they tossed it in here like they did with the Le Parfum. And here it's a bit more noticeable at the beginning when you first initially spray it, but then it all blends up really well. And it becomes like this heavy, I want to say clean, and there's like some darkness in there though. And what I really get from it, to put it simply, is sourness. But it's a heavy sourness that is pleasant and it lasts. So this fragrance is very good in terms of differentiating it from its predecessors. And it's very good in that it's still a kick-ass fragrance. So this is one of the winter picks that I would suggest because it's not a typical winter fragrance in that it's densely sweet or spicy. It's fresh in the sour sense and heavy, but not sweet. There's some sweetness in there, but minimal, very minimal. So that's the Elixir, Dior Sauvage. And I think it started this whole Elixir thing that we got going on with the Invictus Elixir and the Le Mort Elixir and the 1 million Elixir. Whatever, it's a trend, I guess. Now, we got the last fragrance. If you know that noise, you know it's one of the Viktor and Rolfs. Or Montal, but I think that's a different category, So you know it's one of the Viktor and Rolfs. And we're in winter, and maybe this is a hype beast, but, it's whatever hype this fragrance has, it deserves. It's Spice Bomb Extreme. So, Spice Bomb Extreme is this vanilla, just like nuclear bomb. And it's a bit of vanilla with some spices, but like, it's supposed to be cloves and pepper. Now, that's kind of inaccurate in my opinion because maybe you pick up a bit of pepper, or some other kind of spice. But the main thing that I get from this, regardless of whatever else is in there, is vanilla. Only it's just spicy vanilla, lightly spiced vanilla is what this is. And it's like a nice vanilla, the way that I mentioned in the Tom Ford one, where it's really good, but this one is not as specific as that one. This vanilla is like, let's go to the movies vanilla. Let's go to dinner vanilla. Let's go see the Christmas tree vanilla, but not on Christmas. It's not just let's sit have dinner with the family. This vanilla is a versatile, heavy, long-lasting vanilla. I just said long-lasting, so I just reminded me of talking about the longevity of this. By the way, this thing's a beast. This never dies on you. It projects like a mother goose. It projects like a mother goose. And just that being said, that applies to this. This is insanity, how long this lasts, how strong it is, how good it smells. Spice Bomb Extreme. What I want to say about Spice Bomb Extreme is, if you're starting out, initially, it might smell off-putting and strange to you, because it did to me. I didn't like this for like the first month, and then I got used to it, and then I smelled it again, and that's when the sweetness started kicking in. So I'm not sure if that's my batch and the time that I, let it marinate and settle is what helped it change into what it became. And what it became is, like I said, a spicy, beautiful vanilla that is applicable to most times in the cold, even at work, wherever you are. Spice Bomb Extreme. I love this fragrance. So now you have my list for 2 fragrances for each season for someone who's starting to get into this at this like mid-level. All right. So now for my next videos, or at least the next installment of whatever this is, I'll do a niche version I'll do some pics from there and from up there. And I'm gonna keep it to 4 only because I don't have that many clearly in terms of the niche type. So I'll put that out whenever I can. And so thanks for coming back, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.